welcome to our deep dive. You ready to get into the Popol Vuh?
Oh, absolutely. I'm fascinated by this one.
Yeah, it's been called the Maya Bible, and we got this really fascinating book review you sent over about it, this translation by Dennis Tedlock.
Yeah.
And it seems like a really great way to get some insight into the Quiche Maya people of Guatemala, but it's a literary masterpiece,
It is.
blending these myths and legends and history all together.
Yeah, it really is. And Tedlock's 1996 translation is kind of considered like the big one, the landmark achievement.
Oh, well.
And for good reason, I think.
And what makes it so special?
Well, he used this technique called ethnopoetics to try to make it both accurate, faithful to the original text, but also really engaging for a modern reader.
Ethnopoetics, that sounds a little academic. What does that mean, like in plain English?
Yeah, it's kind of a fancy word, but basically it means he was trying to capture the spirit of the original storytelling.
Oh.
Imagine like sitting around a fire and listening to a shaman recite these stories. Their voice rising and falling with the rhythm of the narrative.
Yeah.
That's the kind of experience that Tedlock was trying to recreate on the page.
Oh, wow. So how did he do that?
Well, he used line breaks and spacing on the page to kind of mimic how the Popol Vuh would have sounded when spoken aloud.
So it's almost like he's creating like a screenplay, but for your ears,
Yeah, exactly. Like an auditory experience rather than just a visual one.
Does the review give any examples of how he does that?
I think the most powerful example is right in the opening lines, where the Popol Vuh describes this primordial void, this emptiness before anything existed. And it says, there was not yet one person, one animal. Birds, fishes, crabs, trees, rocks, hollows, canyons, meadows, forests. Only the sky existed.
Wow, you can almost hear the pauses, even just reading that silently.
Right.
And the emphasis on each element. It really does pull you into that world.
Yeah. Yeah. And what makes Tedlock's translation even more special is his deep connection to the Quiche Maya people.
Oh, okay. So it's more than just an academic exercise for
Oh,
him.
yeah, definitely. He spent years living with them, learning their language and traditions firsthand.
Wow, that's some serious dedication.
Yeah, he was more than just a translator. He was really a student of their culture.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual structure of the Popol Vuh. The review mentions 4 parts.
Yeah, it starts with the creation of the world.
Okay.
So imagine this void, right? An emptiness before anything existed. And then the gods emerge, and they're trying to create humans, but their first attempts are kind of a mess.
Oh, so it's like a practice makes perfect scenario,
Yeah.
but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. They try mud, they try wood,
Oh, wow.
but each creation just doesn't quite meet their expectations.
Interesting.
And then finally, they stumble upon the perfect material.
What's that corn?
Corn! It's so central to Mesoamerican cultures, it makes sense. Yeah, and the Popol Vuh really elevates corn. It's not just food, it's like the essence of humanity.
Wow.
The Maya saw themselves as descendants of the maize god,
Real?
inextricably linked to the cycles of nature.
That's fascinating.
So, this creation story, it really establishes this profound connection between humans and the natural world that you see throughout the whole Popol Vuh.
That's an incredible foundation to start with. So what comes next?
So this second part dives into the adventures of the hero twins,
Okay.
Kunapu and Expalanque, and they embark on this perilous journey to Xibalba, the Maya underworld, where they have to face all these trials and they outsmart the lords of death.
So it sounds like more than just an adventure story. Like the underworld in many cultures is a place of like tests and transformation.
Exactly. Xibalba isn't just a physical place. It represents like the challenges and the darkness that we all encounter in life.
Oh, okay.
So the twins' journey becomes this metaphor for overcoming adversity and even achieving a kind of spiritual immortality.
It's so interesting how they blend their beliefs about the afterlife with this thrilling storytelling and their eventual victory over death. That's pretty significant, right?
It is. It signifies the resilience of the human spirit and the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. It's a powerful message woven into this really captivating narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've got the creation of the world. We've got this incredible underworld adventure. What happens in the third part?
So the third part revisits the creation of humans.
Yeah.
This time the gods get it right.
Yeah.
And they successfully create humans out of...
Like, yes, corn.
You guessed it, porn.
It ties back so beautifully to the beginning.
It does.
It reinforces that idea that humanity is inherently connected to nature, that we're literally born from the earth.
Yeah.
It's so different from some creation myths that position humans as separate from nature or even dominant over it.
You're absolutely right. It highlights a key difference in the Maya worldview. You know, they saw themselves as part of the natural order, not above it.
That's a really beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah.
This deep dive is already giving me a new appreciation for Maya thought. Okay, so we've had the creation of the world, a thrilling underworld adventure, and then a second creation story.
Yeah.
What's the focus of the final part of the book?
So the fourth and final part shifts away from myth a little bit and delves into the genealogy and history of the Quiche Maya people.
Okay.
It traces the lineage of their rulers, their accomplishments, their struggles.
So this section is more grounded in the human world, chronicling their actual history as a people.
Precisely. And it's a testament to their desire to preserve their heritage and their identity.
The fact that the Popol Vuh blends these fantastical myths with their recorded history is really fascinating.
Yeah.
It suggests that they saw a deep connection between the two, that their past was intertwined with the divine.
That's a very astute observation. The Popol Vuh isn't just a collection of stories. It's a statement about their place in the cosmos, their understanding of creation and their resilience as a people.
This is fascinating. We've already learned so much about the structure and main themes of the Popol Vuh.
Yeah.
But I'm eager to dig even deeper into those cultural and historical insights.
Let's do it. I think you'll find that Popol Vuh is a window into a worldview that is both ancient and surprisingly relevant to our modern world.
Before we get to that, I want to hear a little bit more about Tedlock's unique approach to translating the Popol Vuh. The review mentioned that it wasn't without criticism. What were some of the critiques leveled at his translation?
Well, some critics argued that, his use of ethnopoetics made his interpretation a bit too subjective.
Okay.
That he was kind of imposing a particular rhythm and structure onto the text.
I see.
That might not have been intended by the original authors.
That's a fair point. Anytime you're dealing with translations, especially of an ancient text, there's always an element of interpretation involved.
For sure.
It's impossible to completely separate the translator's understanding from the text itself.
Exactly. And the unique formatting, while it's innovative, could be challenging for some readers. It requires a different approach to reading, one that's more attuned to the nuances of spoken language.
It sounds like Tedlock was trying to bridge the gap between an ancient oral tradition and a modern reading audience.
He was.
And that's bound to come with some challenges.
For sure. But despite those criticisms, his work is still considered to be like a seminal contribution to the field.
Okay.
It opened up the Popol Vuh to a much wider audience, making this rich and complex text accessible to people who might not have had the opportunity to experience it otherwise.
I think that's a great place to wrap up part one.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
Exploring the structure and key themes of the Popol Vuh. Next, we'll dive deeper into what this text reveals about Maya culture and worldview.
Sounds good. The Popol Vuh, it gives us this unique window, I think, into the Maya worldview, one that's just so rich with symbolism and profound insights into their understanding of the cosmos.
I'm really curious to hear more about that. What are some of the key takeaways that jumped out at you?
Well, their reverence for nature, it's palpable throughout the text. I mean, we've already talked about the significance of corn as like the substance of creation, but it goes way beyond that.
Okay.
Animals, plants, celestial bodies.
Yeah.
They're all interconnected in the Maya understanding of the universe.
And the way the gods experiment with these different materials
before
creating humans from maize,
yeah,
it suggests this deep respect for the power of nature,
Absolutely.
It's not about humans conquering or controlling nature.
Right.
It's about finding this harmony, this balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Popol Vuh, it doesn't present this like hierarchical view of the world, with humans at the top. Instead, it emphasizes interconnectedness and interdependence.
Yeah.
And this reverence for nature is reflected in their really sophisticated understanding of astronomy and the cycles of time.
When I think about the Maya, their incredibly intricate calendar system always comes to mind.
It's a testament to their careful observations of the cosmos and their ability to track these complex celestial patterns. And the Popol Vuh incorporates this astronomical knowledge into their myths and stories. Yeah. It weaves together the earthly and the divine.
It's like their understanding of the universe is embedded in their very narratives.
It is.
Speaking of divine beings, the Popol Vuh introduces us to this whole pantheon of gods and goddesses, right?
Yes, it
What can
does.
you tell us about them?
Well, the Maya pantheon is this fascinating mix of deities,
Oh, yeah.
each representing different aspects of the natural world, human experience, and the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
You have the feathered serpent god,
Yep.
often associated with knowledge and creation,
Yeah.
the maize god, who embodies the life-giving force of nature,
Right.
and the sun god, who represents power and authority.
It sounds like a vibrant and complex spiritual world, much like the Greek pantheon.
There are definitely some parallels there, but the Maya pantheon is unique. I think its emphasis on duality and balance.
Oh, interesting.
The Popol Vuh is filled with these opposing forces, light and dark, life and death order, and chaos.
The concept of duality is so prevalent in many ancient cultures.
It is.
It seems to be this fundamental way of understanding the world and our place in it.
Yeah.
How did the Maya view this interplay of opposites?
Well, for the Maya duality wasn't about like conflict or struggle. It was about harmony.
Okay.
They believed that these opposing forces were necessary to maintain balance in the universe.
Interesting.
The interplay of light and dark creation and destruction.
Yeah.
It was essential for life to flourish.
So it's not a battle between good and evil.
Right.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Exactly.
Even those that seem to be in opposition.
Yeah, it's a very holistic way of thinking.
It is. And this concept of duality, it extends beyond the realm of the divine, right? It's woven into their understanding of human nature, societal structures, even the cycles of time.
Absolutely. Everything is part of this greater interconnected web.
This is giving me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It really challenges our modern tendency to see things in black and white terms.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the Maya's reverence for nature, their sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, and this fascinating pantheon of gods and goddesses. Is there anything else that stands out to you as a key takeaway from the Popol Vuh?
Well, we can't overlook the historical context in which it was written. The Popol Vuh was transcribed in the 16th century after the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors.
Right.
And this was a period of just immense upheaval and cultural disruption for the Maya people.
Absolutely. What was the impact of the Spanish conquest on the Maya, and how is that reflected in the Popol Vuh?
Well, the Spanish conquest brought about these profound changes to Maya society, including the imposition of a new religion, a new language,
Wow.
a new social order. And the Popol Vuh, in a way, became a form of resistance.
Oh, wow.
A way of preserving their cultural identity in the face of these external forces.
So it's more than just a collection of myths and legends.
Right.
It's a testament to their resilience.
Yeah.
And their determination to maintain their cultural heritage.
Exactly. It's a powerful statement about the enduring power of stories to shape our understanding of who we are and where we come from. The Popol Vuh allowed the Kishami to connect to their past, to reaffirm their beliefs and values, and to transmit their knowledge to future generations.
That makes me think about the role of storytelling in our own lives.
Yeah.
We often think of stories as entertainment.
Yeah.
But they can also be these powerful tools for preserving culture, shaping identity,
Absolutely.
spreading knowledge.
The Popol Vuh reminds us that stories have the power to transcend time and connect us to something larger than ourselves.
I love that we've explored some of these cultural and historical insights embedded within the Popol Vuh. What are your thoughts on how we can apply these ancient lessons to our modern lives?
I think there's a lot we can learn from the Maya worldview, particularly their emphasis on balance and interconnectedness.
Especially in a world that often feels increasingly polarized and fragmented.
Exactly. The Popol Vuh reminds us that embracing duality, understanding the interconnectedness of all things, and respecting the natural world, these are all essential for creating a more harmonious and sustainable future.
Those are timeless wisdoms that we would do well to heed in the 21st century.
Indeed. And perhaps by engaging with these ancient stories, we can gain a fresh perspective on our own place in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, as we wrap up part 2, what would you say is the most important takeaway for our listeners?
I think the most important takeaway is that the Popol Vuh, it's not just an ancient text. It's a living document that speaks to the human condition. It's a story about creation, about resilience, about the search for meaning and connection in a complex world.
Yeah.
And its lessons, while rooted in a specific time and place,
Yeah.
they have the power to resonate across cultures and generations.
I think that's a beautiful way to sum it up. We've examined the structure and themes of the Popol Vuh. We've explored some of the cultural and historical insights it
We
offers.
have.
And we've even touched upon the impact of Tedlock's translation.
Right.
There's just one final thought I'd like to share with you. Imagine if our modern societies, had origin stories as rich and complex as the Popol Vuh.
Ah, that's such a fascinating thought.
It is.
It really makes you wonder, what would our modern creation myth be?
Yeah.
Would it be a tale of technological innovation
Quite.
or maybe a story about, the interconnectedness of all living things?
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Would our modern-day hero twins be battling climate change instead of underworld demons?
Right.
It really makes you think about how our stories reflect our values and our anxieties.
They do, the Popol Vuh, it serves as this powerful reminder that narratives, they shape our understanding of the world. They give us this framework for interpreting our experiences and making sense of our place in the grand scheme of things.
The Popol Vuh is definitely a testament to the power of storytelling. This deep dive has been an incredible journey for me, and I hope it has been for you listening as well.
It's been a pleasure exploring this remarkable text with you.
So to recap, the Popol Vuh isn't just an ancient text. It's this vibrant tapestry of stories, history, and spiritual beliefs, providing this unique window into the Maya world.
It does.
We discussed its four-part structure, from the creation myths to the hero twins' adventures and the Quiche people's historical lineage.
Yes.
We also explored some of the cultural and historical insights it offers, like their reverence for nature, their understanding of astronomy, and the importance of duality and balance.
And we can't forget Dennis Tedlock's incredible work, in translating this complex text and making it accessible to a wider audience.
Yeah.
His use of ethnopoetics, while not without its critics, has allowed us to experience the Popol Vuh in a way that captures the essence of its original oral tradition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I highly encourage you to seek out Tedlock's translation and embark on your own journey into the world of the Maya.
It's a journey well worth taking.
And as you delve into the Popol Vuh, consider this. What would your own culture's creation myth be? What stories would you tell to explain the world around you and your place within it?
That's a great question.
Let those questions guide your exploration and see where they lead you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.